Okay, so how does gum bichromate work? A mixture of potassium or ammonium. In this case, we're going to use potassium. Bichromate, salt, dichromate, and bichromate are the same thing. In a saturated solution is mixed with colloid, such as gum arabic, gelatin, or glue or starch. In this case, we're using the gum arabic liquid. So those are the two main chemical mixtures that we're using. This UV light-sensitive liquid mixture is then applied to a substrate, such as paper. This paper. And then dry. Pretty easy. A contact negative, the same size as the finished print, is placed in direct contact with the dried sensitized coating in contact printing frame and exposed to sunlight. The portions of sensitized paper affected by the UV light through the negative will then become insoluble in water. And that whole thing is going to make way more sense once you see me actually do it, because those were a lot of really big words. You should note, if you decide to try this on your own, be really cautious when you handle this stuff and actually use some gloves, because especially ammonium or potassium dichromate, it is dangerous and poisonous and highly allergenic. Never put bare skin in contact with any dichromate solution, because the chemical can cause, not to scare anybody, but it can cause lesions on your tender flesh through contact and can damage your lungs by breathing it in its dry state, which we're not actually going to be using the dry state because I've already mixed the solution. So we don't have to worry about that. This is already in liquid form, so it's fine to breathe. Just don't touch it with your bare skin. And of course, don't leave it, unlabeled. Make sure you keep it out of reach of children because it's not safe for kids. Okay, so now that you know about the chemicals and a little bit about the paper, we're actually using a watercolor paper by Arches because it's not going to fall apart in the water, because you want something that's going to be able to hold up when you're washing it at the end of the print. And if you're going to do multiple runs, you want something that's really sturdy. You can get something that has more weight on it. That's getting really technical though, but you can look that kind of stuff up on the internet. It's everywhere. So that's what kind of paper you want to use. For the pigment, you actually use watercolor pigment. I personally like the Winsor and Newton brand, and then I also use the Soho brand. Winsor and Newton is a little more expensive. The Soho one is, it's not like cheaply made, but it's definitely more affordable than Winsor and Newton. So for this, I'm using the Soho one because it looks fine on us. So to expose the negatives, I can't really tell you what a good exposure time is. If you're using the sun, which is what I do, I don't use a light box. Some people do, but I don't use the light box. I use the sun. If you do it in the middle of the day in the summer with light color, light pigment paints, and a perfect coating on a beautifully sized and hardened paper that is perfect for gum printing, with a negative that is not too dark and not too light, in a geographical location that is temperate and bright. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. These are ridiculous standards. So you're gonna just have to test it. There's no such thing as a correct exposure with gum printing. It's pretty. Oh my God, I lost the word. Subject to what you want, what you're looking for, pretty much. And so I guess I'll show you how to do it. So I'm going to take the potassium dichromate solution, not spill it everywhere. You don't want to get this on you because it's not good for your skin and it could burn you. Found out that earlier. You only need, for an 8x10 print, or in this case it'll be 8x8 print, you only need about 5 milliliters of each of the solutions. So, and you want to do them like one solution at a time. That way, if you accidentally put too much in one container, I'm actually just going to pour this in because it's taking way too long to do it this way. That way, if you put way too much in here, you can pour it back into the container, and it won't be, it won't ruin it. Because once you mix the two, you can't, unmix it. So there's 5 milliliters of that. Pour it into the, so that's done. We're gonna close this up because we don't want to spill this everywhere because that would suck. We'll take, I haven't actually opened this yet, so. That was actually kind of open already, I'm a little worried about that. That'll be fine. Okay. So I need like 5 milliliters of this, just like the other one. And this is the Gum Arabic solution. Just throw some of that in there. Not really, carefully measure it, don't just throw it in there. Okay, and then you get to pick your color. You just use watercolor paints. Because they're water soluble, which means they're going to stick to the paper even after you throw it in the water because of this solution. And we're going to use red, urban red. You just need like that much of it. Like you really don't need very much. If you want to get really particular, you can measure out the paint, but I don't, because really you only need that much. And you gotta like grind it up and mix it up so that the paint pigment actually breaks apart in the solution. And you want to coat it in even strokes, and you want to go one direction one way and then one direction this way. Don't go like back and forth. You just want to go over, bring it around, and go over again. That helps the tooth in the paper stay toothy and not smooth out. And then you can blow dry it just on low or on cool. Don't want it too hot because that doesn't really work well. And just do it on low. Now you can zoom in.
I'll just go.
So once you coated the paper with the solution and then you've dried it with your blow dryer, you want to take your negative. In this case, that's going to be that QR code that I made so that you could find this video. And you want to place it emulsion to emulsion, and that just means that the side of the negative with the ink on it touches the side of the paper with the solution on it. You put that face down. Just make sure it's positioned the way that you want it. And then just use a little bit of tape on it. You want to use masking tape or like painter's blue tape so that it doesn't actually like rip up the paper part when you take it off later. And this is just so that when you put it into your contact printing frame, it doesn't like move around and mess up where your negative is. This would be even more important if you were doing several runs, which just means doing it several times with different colors but using the same negative. And for that you would need a light table, but we're not doing that for this. We're just doing a single run. So, this is harder to do with gloves on. So, a little piece. Yeah, it really doesn't take very much tape. So now you've got your ruler, so it's not going anywhere. This is your contact printing frame, and this just ensures that this is totally flat and as like the negative and the paper are as close together as possible to make the best print. Of course, you want this to be facing the glass side, otherwise how's it going to get exposed? Let's close it back up. And then you're ready to take this outside and expose it to some UV light. You can also use a light, a UV light table. Those are super expensive. And I don't really like them. I'd much rather use regular sunlight because it's more fun for me. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so we just got done exposing it to the sun for about 5 minutes or so. The times for exposure vary depending on what kind of negative you're using and what your intended outcome is. I don't know if you can tell in here, but this red got a lot darker because of the sun making contact, the UV light making contact with it. So the next thing is going to be to take it out of this frame, and we're going to take the negative off of it. Off the paper, and you can see it before I wash it. So tape's already coming off of it. So we've got that. Should just move this. And I'll just gently pull this off. So when you're doing an exposure, you can always pull one side of this off of the contact printing frame. That way you can kind of take a peek at it without really messing up the alignment of the negative to the paper. So, and that's what it's going to look like after you've exposed it, but before you rinse it. So now we're going to rinse it, and when we're rinsing it, what we're doing is we're taking all of the light sensitive chemical out of it. It'll just wash it out. That way, when you display it in a gallery somewhere, hopefully someday, maybe not this, but anything in general, it won't continue to be exposed to light and, change your picture. Because I can't edit that. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Okay. Now I have. Sorry if you need a stool, because I'm not going to hold it up like this the whole time. So if you rinse it out and you want to let it sit face down in water for a little while so it can bleed out the rest of that that stuff, and you can tell it's really coming out because it's, I mean, this is yellow, it was clear. So this will probably take about, I usually leave it in there for like 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much of it I want to wash out. How much of the pigment I want to wash out, because it'll lose pigment the longer it's in there too. Okay. And so that's it. So this is how you make that QR code that you had to scan in order to get this video. So after this, I would just dry it, and then I'll actually scan it into a computer and make copies of it, because it would be super expensive to make copies this way. So this will just be scanned into the computer, and I'll make flyers doing that. And that's it. That's all it is. Gum Bichromate.